In this video, I'll guide you how to push your code on github.com. What is github.com and why do we need to upload our code or push our code on github.com? Github.com is just a collaborative platform that we use to upload our code or share our code on there. Why do we need to do that? Because let's suppose if you're working on a project, which I'm working on one of my project right now, and let's suppose if I want someone else or my teammate to work on this project remotely, he's located somewhere else. So I want him to like simultaneously work on this project, add some functionalities, and then I want my code to be centralized. So any changes that my friend makes, it should be like uploaded or synced on my project without any issues. So that's why we use github.com. Other than that, we use github.com just to like for the version control. So let's suppose if you're developing your project and then suddenly you have started facing an error and now your one of the functionality that you're working on is not working anymore. So now what you have to do, you have to now switch back to your functional version, which was actually functional. If you have not published or pushed your code on GitHub, so you will end up losing your project because now your project cannot be reversed back to there is no version control on your local drive because your project is sitting on a local drive. There is no version control. There is no like history of any changings that you made on your project. So that's why you need to use something like github.com. So because this is going to be an absolutely beginner friendly tutorial, so I'll actually kind of spoon feed you or walk you through each and every single possible step that you need to push your code on GitHub. Before we move with that, please do not forget to subscribe my YouTube channel. Right now we are at 1840 subscribers and our goal is to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Please help me to reach there. Thank you. All right, so let's get back to our tutorial. So let's suppose if you have a project that you're working on and your project is on Cursor IDE or on Bolt.new or on, let's suppose, Visual Studio or on Windsurf. So now you need to, Bolt.new is actually a browser-based tool. So you don't need to like use GitHub for that. But imagine like you are working on something inside Cursor or inside Windsurf or inside Visual Studio. So now once you have like made a kind of a basic version of your project, now you need to publish this code on github.com. So what you need to do, first of all you need to go to your GitHub website, which is github.com. So you need to go there. Okay, hold on, before I start with my tutorial, let me just like switch to this version. This way actually you can see like bigger screen here. Okay, so you need to go to github.com and then click on sign up. It's free to use, there is no cost for it. Just click on sign up, add your email address, whatever email address you have, and then you can simply continue. I have already like account on this email, so it will ask me to that I have already like account on this email, so I won't need to sign up, but it will just like a simple sign up process. There is no complication in that. Once you are signed up and you have verified your email address from your Gmail, make sure you do that and it might send you a confirmation code. Next step is you simply need to click on GitHub sign in. You can access this page by simply looking for on Google, just simply look for GitHub sign in, or you can simply just come to GitHub website and you can access that page. This is how you can simply just access this page. So enter your email address and then enter your password. My password is, I won't say that on here, but it's kind of very difficult to guess, but yeah. Okay, so this is GitHub. So this is the dashboard that we see on GitHub. So these are all of my repositories that I have worked on, and this is like all of my like GitHub. So each of these things that you are seeing here is actually a repository. Or what is a repository? Whenever you push your code, whenever like you like share your code, so you actually share it inside a repository. You create something which is, if you click on this add new and then you create a repository. How to create a repository, I'll guide you later, but yeah, so this is how you can. So each of this like page is actually a repository. So let's just install a software that we need to install before we start creating our repository. So you need to install this software which is called gitscm.com. So you need to go on Google, search for Git, download, click on the first link and then click on this download for Windows button. If you are using Windows, it will ask for like you can download from Windows. If you're using Mac, you can download from Mac. If you're using Linux, you can download it for Linux. And right now, because we are using Windows, which most of you will be, so simply you can just click on download for Windows. If you're using Mac, you can simply just use download from Mac. Next step, you can either use 32-bit Git for Windows setup. Most of us use 64-bit, so you can simply just click on this button, and what it will do, it will actually download this Git version for you, like this software for you, exe file. Now what you need to do next is simply just double click on this thing and simply just now click on install and next. Simple installation. There is no complicated process on that because I have already done that, so I won't overwrite my setup, so I can simply just close that. So once I have done that, next step is to now make sure that installation is done, and now the process now to push my code to GitHub starts right now. So what we have to do, if you are on Cursor or on Visual Studio or you are on Windsurf, the process is same. You need to make sure that you are inside your project directory, your root directory of your project. You have to be inside your root directory of what I can do. I can simply just use maybe cmd, this command line, and you can simply just open this by looking for cmd, open that, and then you can simply just enter your directory here, your project directory. Let's suppose my project was in this folder. So what I'll do, I can simply just come here and copy this directory from here, and like simply just click on cd and simply just click on that. And if you are not inside directory, you can simply just write this, your directory name, and then this colon, and then it will let you inside your directory. This is what it means when I say you have to be inside your directory. This is what I mean, that inside your terminal you have to be inside your directory. So this, now you are inside your directory. Now we are actually good to publish or push our code to GitHub. So before you push our code to GitHub, you have to make sure that your code is running fine. If it is, even if it is not running fine, that's fine, but you can simply just try to run your code. And so let me just run my project. So my project is running right now. I'll just click on that, and it will just compile it, and here it is. This is my project. So right now I have this project, and with these simple basic options here, and I can just like, this is my project. So my project is here right now. What I need to do is just like push my project on, push my code, all of this source code on GitHub. So let's just go to GitHub and then click on sign in. All right, where is that? There it is. Okay, cool. So we are here, and what we need to do, we need to create a new repository. How to create a new repository? Just and simply just click on your repositories. Once you're there, click on new. Simply just click on new. So simply just click on new, and now here you can name your repository anything. So I'll name it project management. This is just like name of my project, so I'll just name it this. Next, what you have to do, if you want to add a simple description, you can simply just do that. Next is, do you want to make this repository public or private? If your code is like, I usually recommend you keeping it private, because if your code is very secret and secure, and if your project is very secret, you can just keep it private. If you don't care that people can access your project or not, so you can simply just keep it public. I usually just keep my projects, so like most of my projects that I'm working on myself, I just keep that public. If I'm working on some client's project, I'll just keep that private. So once you have done that, simply just next click on create repository. So I have kept my repository public, so I'll just click on create repository. So what it will do, it will just redirect me to next page, and now this is my repository link. This link is very important, just keep in mind please, because now we are actually going to push our code onto this certain link. This is our link. We are actually going to host our source code. So it has now given us these commands to run in here. So first command that it needs to run is actually git init. We need to run this command here first of all. So let me just go to my directory back, and let me just press command C, and then make sure you are like your server is not running, and your command C, and then make sure that you are inside your directory. Once you're inside your directory, just paste this command, simply git init. And here it is. It says reinitialized existing Git repository, because I had already Git installed, but that's fine. So yeah, what it will do, it will actually create some files for you, some Git files, Git related file. Most important file that you need to take care of is actually .git ignore. So it will create this .git ignore default file. What this file does, this file actually tells Git to ignore some certain files from your project. So it will just only push essential files. It will ignore this entire node modules, this next folder, this .env.local file. Why it ignores node modules? Because this folder has a huge size, and it can be, these dependencies actually can be installed package.json. So whenever somebody will actually download your source code or clone your repository on their own computer, so they can actually simply just install this by simply running npm install in their IDE. So you don't need to share this with them. So this is unnecessary. So this is the core purpose of like adding this to git ignore, is actually just to make sure that you are not like adding just any extra place in there. Next thing is actually in environment variables file .env.local. This is environment variable file, so we need to add that here. This is already added here .env, so I need to add .env.local as well. So we can simply just do that by simply just coming here .env and .local. Simply just write that and it will just add your .env.local files. Once you do that, you can see it is even hidden from your directory as well. If you need to bring it back, because you might need to like make some changes in your .env.local, so it will just do that. Why do we need to hide our .env.local file? Because we have some secret API keys hosted inside .env.local file. So once I like start creating backend related tutorials, I'll guide you that how you can add API keys into your .env.local file to test it locally. Once we publish our code on a server, so we'll actually create environment variables file on our server. I'll guide you that. That's a tutorial for a topic for a separate tutorial. So once you have done all of that, now next step is actually simply just go back to your GitHub, and these are important commands. I'll just add these commands in my description section as well. You can find it from there, or as soon as you create your repository, it will just give you commands there. So you need to do just copy this second command and paste it here. So your readme file is added in here. All right, next step is what you need to do is actually you need to just add all of your files in your, so this then that command is not mentioned here, but I have actually written it in a notepad for you. So what you can do, you can simply just do git add and then space and then dot. This is the command. I'll just post this, like add this command in my description. You just need to add this command, press enter. What it will do, it will add all of your files that you have not added in git ignore file. So it will add all of your files, all of your project directory source code related files. Like it will just like prepare it for push. Next step is now you need to add, like run this, either all of these commands itself and then run all of these commands all together, or what you can do, you can simply just run this command. And let me just run this command in here simply. So what it will do, it will just like link your GitHub with your source code. If you're doing for the first time, as soon as you run this command, it will actually ask you to log into your GitHub account. So you can simply just use your username and password to log into your GitHub account. So as soon as you have done that, what you need to do next is just make sure that you're in your main branch. What is a branch? So whenever you will push your code, it will actually go to a branch. So let me just show you one of the examples of the branch. Let me just go to one of the repositories. I'll just go to repositories. I'll just open maybe this one. And then you can see this is the master branch. I can create a different branch to push a different version of my code in that separate branch. So whenever like I need to use a certain version of my code, I can retrieve that code from that particular branch. So that's why we create different branches on GitHub. So what you need to do, you need to just make sure that you're in this branch, and let me just copy and just paste in here. So now you're in main branch. Next step is you need to just run this command, which is this push. So simply just copy it, paste it here, and simply just run this command. What it will do, it will just like upload all of your source code, all of your code on GitHub. Now surprisingly, as soon as you go here, just click on refresh button, and boom, your code is on GitHub. Here it is, project management. So it is showing this 3 days ago, because actually I made this changing locally on my project 3 days ago, and that's why it is showing 3 days ago. Now if I make any changings in my project, let me just make some changes in my project. Let's just open our project and let me just make some change in my project. So let me just run it again. npm run dev. Simply just run that, and now I'll just try to add, let's suppose, some change in that. So I'll just add another project. I'll see if something is that I need to change. Okay, so it's just working fine so far. Let's just add something. Let's just like change our code. If we try to push our code now, it will say that you're already updated. Let's just try to make some changings. So it's just making improvements to the project functionality. Okay, let's add a simple to-do list tab on our project. All right, so let's just like make some changings on our inside our project, and then we'll just push our changings to GitHub. So I know our tutorial is getting a bit longer, but that's all right, because this is going to be an absolutely, I saw like there are a lot of videos on YouTube that guide you about pushing your like code on GitHub, but none of those videos are actually absolute beginner friendly for non-technical, non-programmer people, because most of these days most of the people actually are people from marketing background, people from SEO background, who are creating some basic tools, simple tools. So they need to just like have a very basic beginner friendly guide, or anyone who's just like a new developer, so they need a beginner friendly guide. So let's just see if it makes some changings. So by the way, cursor agent is working good now. When they launched that feature in Cursor Composer, so it was hallucinating a lot, but now it's comparatively it's better now. All right, cool. So it has made some changing. Apparently it has made changing like in our code. So now we can actually push our code. First we can test it, and then later on we can just push our code on. So here is to-do list section, and then I can simply just add my to-do list thingies here. All right, perfect. So it's working. All right, so let's just push our code on, like update our code. So what you need to do, you need to simply just click on git add space and then simple dot, just do that, and it will add all of these two files that have been changed. It will just do that. Okay, so I have written these commands for you to add in your description. You can just find these commands inside the description. So we have run this command git add dot. Next command that we need to run is this git commit. So, and we just copy this command from a description, paste it somewhere, and then so you don't forget. You don't need to like memorize these commands. So you can simply just run this here. Simply run it here, and inside comments we can just add comments added to do list functionality. Just do that. Simply just do that. All right, so this way you will see why we are actually doing that. Once you have done that, next step is you need to just push your code on your GitHub. So once you do that, it has failed. Why it has failed? Because right now we are actually asking it to push this code on master branch. There is no master branch. We are actually on main branch. So you need to simply just remove that and click on main. So it will just push our code on GitHub. And then if you come here, where I am, if you just come here, refresh that, and you can see in inside src there's one file which is changed, which is now there are these files which are changed, which is now, so it has like changed these files. Inside commits, and if you go to commits, you can see this is our first commit and this is our second commit, which we have just done right now. So it will be easier for you to, if you just want to like revert back to this version, if you don't, if this version has a bug, if you just revert back to this version, so you can simply just like get this, and then you can revert back to this version by using this commit ID. How you can do that, we can just like I'll create a separate video for that to guide you how you can revert back to any other version of your code. So yeah, this was it for today's video. So I hope that you got your kind of complete idea that how you can push your code on GitHub. If you have any other questions, please just leave questions in comment section. I very passionately respond to each and every comment because I'm loving all of the response that I'm getting from you guys. Thank you so much for your support, and I really hope that you learned something from me, and I really hope that I made some like difference in your life. So I see you next video. Bye bye.